And if you're like someone already did these things like vasectomy or the IVF thing or all these things, you've already fallen into these sins. Then if you're like, what do I do now? I want to repent now and go back to God. Well, you're going to have to go and research the solution needed in order to take yourself back to how you were. If there's a way to reverse that vasectomy, right? You can do something to go back to normal. You can, you get me? I mean, just be practical. You know, God understands. He's not going to ask you to do something where you're going to die in the process. It has to be practical. I'm sure there's a solution. Um, but you have to, because this one is not the same. This one is like you not wanting kids. Okay, but let's say someone became transgender. You're going to have to go back to your gender, do surgery again, because you're not going to worship God in another gender. Because now, what are you going to do also when it comes to if you want to be a human like us? You're going to have to get married. What the hell who are you going to marry? You look like the other gender. So you have to do the surgery again and look like the gender you were originally in. So solutions are obvious when you're like people did surgeries to themselves. They did things that are sort of bad and they changed their way already. What's the solution? You go and do the same thing again. You do the same medical practices again and take yourself back to how you naturally were. Because God is not going to just be like, you repent to me, you're good to go. Because I just told you, you're still going against nature. You're male, you made yourself look like a female, you became transgender. Now what? If you repent to God, who are you going to marry? Are you insulting us? You're not a female, you're a male. So go do surgery again, look like a male again. They may not be able to make you look as the way you used to look, but at least go back to looking like a male, your gender, so you can actually marry a female. Get it? Otherwise, you're doing perversion. If you stay in the way that you are that moment, which is you look like a female, you're not a female. You're going to go after men now, which is you continue in that sin. Don't you dare mock God. Go change yourself back to how you were. For people who did surrogacy and IVF, well, then just don't do it again. Don't go back to that situation again. Don't commit that sin again. Vasectomy, do the surgery again. Try to go back to normal. If it's impossible, forget it. You're just not going to have kids now. But understand that's a sin on your part. You have to change what you did to how it used to be in order to also compensate God for the sin you did and for things to be natural for us, the humans who have to mix with you. You don't just have to just repent, okay? And that doesn't mean that the solution is for you to just simply go back to the gender God made you originally when you were born, but look like someone else. No, because then you're still changing nature. You're still committing that same sin. If you look like another male and not the male you look like before you did that transgender nonsense to yourself, it means go back exactly to how you looked. If 100% they are literally limited in making you look perfectly the way you were, it's just in that situation that God would understand. But that's not possible. They were able to make you look like something else. God gave them the skill to make go back to how you looked. So don't lie. But you have to 99.9% go back to how you used to look, not just your gender that you used to be. Then God could actually forgive you. And that doesn't mean that the solution is for you to just simply go back to the gender God made you originally when you were born, but look like someone else. No, because then you're still changing nature. You're still committing that same sin. If you look like another male and not the male you look like before you did that transgender nonsense to yourself, it means go back exactly to how you looked. If 100% they are literally limited in making you look perfectly the way you were, it's just in that situation that God would understand. But that's not possible. They were able to make you look like something else. God gave them the skill to make go back to how you looked. So don't lie. But you have to 99.9% go back to how you used to look, not just your gender that you used to be. Otherwise, you will be roaming around this earth looking like the gender you are not. And now, what are you going to say? That you need to mix with the other gender and destroy their life and commit more perversion, entering their bathrooms? That's what I'm saying. You have to go back. Otherwise, you're destroying not just nature, not just what God created, not just the marriage you're supposed to have, but how are you going to live in society? So you have to go back. And this is obviously the same for females. It's vice versa. I was just using male as an example. That is the way basically you compensate or you repent for the sin. You reverse yourself back to how God created you. Not just the gender, but the way you personally look. Otherwise, you're still committing the sin of perversion and changing your nature. Two, that means in the meantime, don't go to people. You were female, you did something, you now look like a male and vice versa. You're not going to go to that gender anymore that you are trying to look like or whatever, because that's perversion. So don't go near them. Find a way to isolate from society in a way where you don't violate other people's rights, such as bathrooms or whatever. You figure it out. The moral way to not abuse people because you're trying to look like a gender you're not. And then only after you took yourself back to how you used to look, that God created you at the beginning, now you look for marriage.